Steve Kaplan. Sorry, I was trying to delay just a little bit to give you time to get back to your desk. He is the West Bloomfield Township Supervisor. Thank you for being with us here this morning. I'm sure you had a late night last night. I'm sorry, that's my fault. Let me unmute you. Steve Kaplan with us on the Oakland County Megacast, West Bloomfield Township Supervisor. Thank you for being with us. I'm sure you were up late last night.
Well, thanks, Ronnie, and hello, Tyler and Larry. It was very exciting last night as the votes were coming in, and not all the results are known, as you know, especially in the presidential election and in the senatorial election.
Can you compare this election to some of the previous ones that you've been through?
Well, as a candidate or just as a person who's interested in politics, the polls, it shows that presidential polls have not been accurate now for 2 consecutive elections, and it might be that the public will not trust any of the polls because President Trump ran far ahead in many states than what the pollsters were projecting.
From a candidate standpoint, what has it been like for you? You've been involved in politics for a long time. This isn't your first rodeo here with the West Bloomfield Township Supervisor position. You've also have a background in school, on the school board as well. Looking at all of this, do you think there has been more attention on the local elections this year due to the pandemic?
No, I don't. I think that, and I'm not being critical at all, but the average resident, the average taxpayer, constituent is concerned more nationally and maybe higher state positions. For local office holders, it seems to me that, at least during a pandemic, that as long as there isn't any belief or any rumors or any credence that the local community, the local office holders are not performing well, I think people are satisfied, and therefore incumbents are likely to be reelected during dire times.
So you won by a landslide last night. What do you hope to do in the future? How are you going to try to switch up and improve the West Bloomfield community?
Well, first, I'd like to share with you, and I know you're aware of this, that all 7 elected officials, the 4 trustees, the treasurer, the clerk, and the supervisor, were reelected. And as I said, I think that shows that the residents are satisfied with our work. The typical resident might not be able to name many of the elected officials, but I think they know, at least anecdotally, that we're performing as well as we can. Taxes are lower than they might be in a city, and we offer good services. We're very conservative, Ronnie, in terms of funding and budgeting, but we are providing services. And what matters to the typical resident is when he calls town hall or city hall, he wants his phone call answered, and he wants attention paid to it, and he wants a return call. And I think we do provide that service. We hire excellent people. I know that's self-serving coming from the township supervisor, but anybody visiting town hall will notice that our staff, they have really good attitudes, they're friendly, and we try to hire people who are outgoing, extroverted, and enjoy working with the public.
Steve Kaplan here with us on the Oakland County Megacast, winning his second 4-year term as the West Bloomfield Township Supervisor. Prior to that, you were the township trustee as well as serving time on the school board and as a planning commissioner, but you also have a law background as well. Knowing that, it seems like we are riding a wave of Democrats right now here in the city of Oakland County, or within the county of Oakland County, which routinely back in the day had a strong Republican hold on Oakland County. What do you make of the number of Democrats winning this election?
That's a good question. You probably know that until the year 1996, West Bloomfield Township Board, which had been in existence since 1833, never featured a Democratic office holder. And then in 1996, a trustee was elected to the Township Board. I was elected in 2000 as the second elected official who was a Democrat. And now, as you mentioned, Ronnie, the county has turned Democratic and might even be 56-44, where Oakland County had been a stronghold for Republicans in the state. In fact, in 1996, it was 60% Republican, 40% Democrat. So as to your question, why are the numbers changing? Well, in many ways, you have Democrats who lived in other areas who have moved to West Bloomfield and who carry their politics or political affiliations with them. So part of it's caused by a change in residents, where maybe the older residents who tended to be Republican may not live here any longer. They might not be alive, but you have seen changes demographically, and it is unlikely to change. I think Oakland County and West Bloomfield will remain Democratic for as long as you and I are on this planet.
How much do you think the passing of L. Brooks Patterson has played into this election and the Democratic wave?
That's a good question. Brooks Patterson, regardless of your politics, he was a superlative county executive. He served as county prosecutor for 16 years and then county executive for 22 years. And he is a well-known figure. He was an individual who carried clout. He was able to cross the line, not the line, but he was able to cross over and work with Democratic office holders. So Brooks Patterson probably is the most well-known, most famous office holder in the history of Oakland County. So Brooks no longer being on the scene, we have a new county executive, and I like him very much, David Coulter. He does a good job, but he doesn't pretend to be Brooks Patterson. Brooks Patterson is a one of a kind. He's a once in a generation individual, but he looked after Oakland County. Oakland County, because of him, has a very high bond rating, and that tradition's carried on by Dave Coulter. But Oakland County became very well known for technological services and businesses. So I am a fan of Brooks Patterson, even though I'm a Democrat.
When you say Brooks was one of a kind, you definitely had that right. No other person like him. He did a lot for this community and Oakland County. And Steve, going into your second term as the West Bloomfield Township Supervisor, top 3 things you want to accomplish in your next term?
All right, the first is to maintain the services we have without raising taxes. The second one is ensuring that the public continues to receive stupendous services from our firefighters, police, and paramedics and dispatchers. You've heard me before, you probably can predict what I'll say, that we have a 4-minute or less response time. So when a resident calls 911, she can count on a police vehicle being at her house within 3 to 3.5 minutes, and same with the fire truck and the ambulance. So that's very important to maintain public safety. And then thirdly, we're concerned about our infrastructure, just as you are about your home. So we have safety paths that need to be enhanced. We have 71 miles worth of safety paths in our 32 square miles. And people expect, Ronnie, and they demand that those safety paths be in good condition. And also we would like to build additional safety paths. It's a matter of finances. So infrastructure, our town hall it was built in 1988 and we moved in 1989, and we're maintaining it very well. So just as the typical resident monitors his own infrastructure, we do so here. We have some good staff members in the facilities division, and they're aware when something needs repairing. We don't have to wait until there's a big leak in the roof and you have buckets all over the town hall to capture the water. These matters are spotted early, and I think that's helpful because our residents and our visitors to town hall deserve to have a nice building. They deserve to be treated well, and they deserve to know that the office holders here, the 7 elected officials and staff, are able to maintain good services at reasonable cost.
Steve Kaplan, thank you so much for your time with us this morning on the Oakland County MegaCast. The next time we have you on, I'd like to get your 2 cents on the new prosecutor, as well as the new prosecutor in your old stopping grounds, Macomb County. That's pretty big. We have 2 new prosecutors in 2 of the biggest counties here in the Michigan area. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later editions of the Oakland County MegaCast. Congratulations on your win. Steve Kaplan with us on the Oakland County MegaCast, easily winning his second term as the West Bloomfield Township Supervisor, elected to another 4-year term, beating out Republican Donald L. Perry.